kids, today we're going to talk about Josiah. He was a king in the Old Testament. Wait until you hear how old he was. He was only 8 years old. Let's talk about Josiah. Get ready. Josiah became king of Judah when he was only 8 years old. Let's see, when I was 8 years old, I was in 2nd grade learning about math, cursive, how to behave. But when Josiah was 8, he had to lead a whole nation. That's like being the president of the United States. You see, back then, when a king died, his son would usually become the next king. It didn't matter how old you were. So whether he wanted to be king or not, Josiah had the job. And the problem was, Josiah's dad was not a good guy. He did yucky things to his own people and made fun of God. He worshipped silly idols, things that weren't God, like wood or Twinkies. So Josiah had to make a choice. He could choose to be like his dad, or he could choose to be a good king, one that honored God. What kind of king would you be? Would you be more like your dad even if he was a bad guy? Or would you try to be different? I'll bet that was a really tough choice for Josiah to make. Parents are supposed to be our role models. Josiah needed some major help if he was going to turn things around. One day, Josiah told the people to go to the temple to clean it up. It hadn't been used in a while. While they were cleaning, they found a really old book called a scroll. And it had God's law written on it. That would be like finding a Bible. These are God's words written in here. Josiah had never heard God's words before. His father never taught him about God. So when he read it, he realized his people were going in the wrong direction. So here's what Josiah did. He went up to the temple of the Lord with all the people. And there the king read to them the whole book of the covenant. Josiah pledged to obey the Lord with all his heart and soul. Isn't that cool? Now by now, Josiah was only 16 years old. Now that's still pretty young to make an important decision like that. You know how he had the strength to do it? He read God's word and obeyed it. He knew God's way was the best. That's what our memory verse is about. It comes from Psalms. Your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path. God's word helped Josiah to know how to lead his people. God's word still does that for us today. Our big idea today is that the Bible shows us how to honor God. What about you? Do you know much about God's word, the Bible? You may not be king of a nation, but you can still use God's word in your life. You can read it, obey it, and even share it. Tell others about it. Josiah was just a kid, but he's a hero because he followed God's word.